How are you all? And welcome back to another new session with me. And today we are going to learn something really interesting. Okay? And today we are going to do 2 poems. Alright? 2 very interesting poems. Are you with me? Come on, let's learn these 2 interesting poems. Now, these 2 poems are like a fairy tale, alright, where we first meet a cute little froggy whose name is Thomas, and we see how little Thomas becomes into Mr. Thomas. You want to know? Alright, come, let's try to understand little Tommy's life story.
Little Tommy Tadpole began to weep and wail, for little Tommy Tadpole had lost his little tail, and his mother didn't know him as he wept just for alone, for he wasn't Tommy Tadpole but Mr. Thomas Frog.
Well, we all grow up from a little baby, like this, we grow up into a big individual. But do we grow up to be something different? We still have the same hands, but it just grows longer. We have the same head. We do not transform ourselves into something totally different. But that's not the case with a frog. Do you know that frogs transform themselves into something else? When they are born like a fish. Yeah, they are just like a fish. They need water to survive. And once they are done, they grow up into a frog, which looks completely different than a fish, right? Yeah, and those tiny fellows who look like fish are called as tadpoles. Now, these tadpoles have a beautiful tail just like a fish. And that's why Mr. Tommy Frog was worried because his tail couldn't be found. He lost his tail because as these tadpoles start growing, they get hind legs. You know, these hind legs. Once they get the hind legs, okay, their tail becomes shorter and shorter. And finally, they get their front legs. And then the tail starts becoming even more short. And finally, you see, their tail is gone. And that's when they become a real frog, which doesn't have a tail. That's why Mr. Thomas Frog was worried. He was wondering, he was a baby. When he was a baby, a tadpole, he had a tail. He was crying that he lost his tail. His mother couldn't find him because why? Because he became something totally different. He became a frog. Isn't this a nice and funny poem? Okay, come on, let's go to the next poem where we see another creature who becomes something completely different, and that's a caterpillar. Yeah, would you ever believe that when we take a caterpillar and put it inside a bag and probably shake it if you want, and take it out, it's transformed into a butterfly. Oh my gosh, a butterfly? Well, that's true, because a caterpillar actually makes a bag around itself, and after a while it turns into a butterfly and comes out of the bag, and that's pretty and special bag, probably a magical bag, is called the chrysalis. And this entire process of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly is called the metamorphosis. And I'm so sure you learned it in your first chapter of EVS, right? Yeah, I know you did. Anyways, so now time for a wonderful poem on this. The fuzzy little caterpillar curled upon a leaf, made himself a chrysalis, and then fell asleep. While she was sleeping, she dreamed that she could fly, and when she woke up, she was a butterfly. Fly, fly, fly. So, my dear kids, I hope you enjoyed these two wonderful poems. Okay, the first poem, Mr. Thomas Frog, was written by C.J. Dennis. Alright, but the poet of the second poem is quite unknown. So we'll say, what? Do you recollect that? Well, we'll say written by anonymous because the author is unknown. And we should know that both these poems are talking about growing up. Growing up, the growth of a frog at first, and then the growth of a butterfly. Right? Fly. Both of them look very different than what they actually were at birth. And hold on, I have two wonderful questions to ask you. First question from the first poem. How can frogs live on water as well as on land? They can live in water just like fishes, and they can live on land. How can they do that? Do you have the answer? If you don't, go find out the answer. And the second question. Second question is from the poem The Butterfly. Now the question is, what is metamorphosis? I hope you answer my question soon. Find the answers from anywhere you want, either the internet or your EVS textbook or anything. Alright? I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next on Friday. Okay? Bye-bye. Ta-da!